experts here, so there's lots of people to answer your questions. I'm not necessarily the one, but native plants. What do you mean when you say a native plant? Does that mean native to the continent, to the state, to the county? I have to read this. Native plants have formed symbiotic relationships with native wildflower over thousands of years, therefore the most sustainable habitat. A plant is considered native if it has occurred naturally in a particular region, ecosystem, or habitat without human introduction. The word native should always be used with the geographic qualifier, i.e. native to Middle Tennessee, for example. Only plants found in this country before European settlement are considered native to the U.S. So we've got a lot of stuff that has been brought over that is not native. That's a real problem. I don't know, I'm sure there's some here, but why would you want to plant natives? Well, depending on the plant, they can look very good. You've got aesthetics. They will last a while. They will come back. They don't require a lot of maintenance. You don't have to water them much. They're used to the area. If it's dry, they will grow there. If it's wet, if you got the right plant, it'll grow there. You've just got to match it to the location. One of the things that this country cultivates a lot, we spend a lot of effort and money and time cultivating, and there's not a thing you get from it. You can't eat it or anything like that. What do you think that might be?
Yard.
Lawns. And I'm not telling everybody to convert your lawns, but think about it in terms of if you've got a lush green lawn and you walk in, and how many insects do you see? How many pollinators do you see on that lawn?
Zero.
What good does it do? I mean, it's nice looking, but unless you're feeding moles or something like that, it doesn't have a lot on it. The other thing with your native plants is you don't need to put a lot of pesticides on them. You don't need to fertilize them. They'll grow. So where would you get these things? There are some local nurseries. I see a lot of containers up there that have the little sticker that's Grow Wild. And Grow Wild is one nursery. They're about, what, an hour and a half away from here. They've got native plant stock. They do a lot of commercial stuff. You can find them on the website. They aren't open for business, but if you call them, you can make arrangements to go there. As the Master Gardeners, we arranged a trip there, and it's an interesting place. So we took a trip there, and they also gave us a group discount. So I loaded up with native plants when we were there. Now, in terms of native plants, personally, I do well just to identify them. Unlike some people that can say, okay, it's such and such, and they can give you a Latin name and a common name. I'm not there yet. I'm trying to get there. There's lots of publications you can find, and I would recommend to you, if you go online, be leery of it unless it says it's got an edu or an org at the end of it. But looking online, you can go to the University of Tennessee, and they've got a publication section, and there's quite a few publications on native plants available there, and you can download those. Those are free. And in particular, I hadn't gone over them yet, but they had one series of publication on native grasses, and it was like publication number 731. I think it goes A through J, and it's all about native grasses. And I'm particularly interested in that because we leased pasture and got cattle on it. So like I've talked to the guys leasing, and maybe I'll try some native grasses at some point in time. From my personal experience with trying to get the natives going en masse, one of the biggest difficulties I have is getting rid of the non-native stuff. In particular, Bermuda grass is a bitch to get rid of. And then you've got other stuff that comes back. But it's hard to get it started. But once you get it started, I haven't got mine started to the point I need to worry about maintaining them. Now let's talk about native plants around here. How many of you have earlier this year passed by exit 1 on I-24 and saw all the wildflowers there? Anybody see those? That was a project that was done with SGI, which is Southeastern Grasslands Initiative, Roundstone Seeds, and Department of Transportation. And speaking of places, Roundstone Seeds, if you want seeds, that's a place you can get your native seeds. There's also another company, it's Hamilton Native Outpost. Those are two places, reputable places you can order your native seeds. Like I said, the biggest problem that I've had with trying to get the natives growing is getting rid of the stuff that's non-native just to start from a blank spot. Other things, did you know what all's available on this campus, Austin Peay campus? Obviously they're starting it here, but we've got a native plant research garden that's got, I don't know what, over 300 species, and it's behind the, how do you say that, Sunquest Science Center complex. It's not a real big garden, but it's full of native plants, and it's available. Go through and visit. Just don't try to dig up anything, but do enjoy it, and it's there. There's also a rain garden that's got quite a few native species. Do you know Austin Peay actually has an arboretum? And in addition, we've got the City of Clarksville Forester here. Raise your hand, Katie. Yay. The city has an arboretum, and it's in Freedom Park, and you can go through that. So if you're worried about trees or you're curious, take a look. Now, I don't know if all the trees in arboretum are native, but most of them are. But if you're curious about a tree and if you want to see what it looks like and how it'll grow, go visit. Look at that. Also, there's various resources. There's other places. Native nurseries, Grow Wild we mentioned. There's another place, it's maybe an hour and a half away, it's called Rockbridge Trees. They do a lot of native trees. They also sell some non-native stuff, but they're very specific. They tell you what's native and what's non-native. So if you go to an arboretum and if you see a particular tree and say, gee, I'd like one of those, where would I get it? Well, odds are you can get it from Rockbridge Trees. They do a good mail order business, so we can recommend those. And there's Nashville Natives. I have not been to that place before, but check it out. And there is an organization, there's a Tennessee Native Plant Society, and in addition, we've got Tennessee Naturalist. If you really want to get into the native everything, native Tennessee, you could pursue a Tennessee Naturalist program. And this particular notes that I've got with handouts to point you some of the publications, this is available on the table at the Southeastern Grasslands Initiative. The other thing I would tell you, if you're interested in learning about native plants, one of the good ways to do it is hands-on. Well, how can you get hands-on? Well, see Laura. There's volunteer opportunities at Southeastern Grasslands Initiatives. We've got an 18-acre restored grasslands at Dunbar Cave. And if you go out there, you'll either be blown away or wondering, what is this mess? I mean, there's stuff this high, and it's been there, I think, 3 years, last fall. And how do you control it? Well, nature's way of controlling the native grasslands was to burn it over. They burned it last year, but I've been working with them. We've been trying to get rid of some of the invasive, but there's all kinds of natives there, and volunteers are much needed. You can also work with them at the native gardens. There's other places on campus I'm sure you can volunteer. So there's plenty of opportunities. Go put your hands on, learn the native plants, and while you learn them, you can say, oh, I don't want this crap here.
That's right.
And you can get rid of it. So with that, if you really want to know about the native plants, I'm not the person to ask, but you got some resources here. So.
And if you know any youth who you're interested in educating on native plants, I've got flyers at our table at the top here. The whole purpose of this space is going to be to bring young people in during the summer, teach them about the value of these native plants. We're also teaching seed collecting in the fall. So if anyone's interested, it'll be next year before this is all established well enough to do seed collection. But we will welcome folks to come in, collect seeds, and take home with you for all of these plants. And Austin P does a native plant sale in the spring, which Carly will be, I'm sure, happy to share information about. But we actually do all of our own seed collecting on campus and from the trees, and cultivate our own plants from what exists on campus. So if you're interested in buying things right here in Clarksville, you can get babies of our trees on campus and things from us. So please keep that in mind.